I remember my first teacher.
First grade?
Uh-huh.
Now tell us about her. Him or her?
It was a her. Her name was Hazel. Hazel Hooser or some such a name. I remember that.
Huh. Is that where you got the name for your daughter?
No, her dad wanted her named Hazel.
Oh, okay. Huh. What was it about her that sticks out in your memory?
Well, I just remember my first day of school, I got scared.
Yeah.
And my older brother, Frosty, I got lost from him and I had to walk home by myself.
I think my parents took me and brought me home from school whenever I first started.
I went with Frosty.
How much older was he than you?
About 3 years.
Oh. So he wasn't that old himself.
Well, no.
It wasn't like going with an adult or anything.
No. 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, I don't know. See, there was a brother between the two of us.
Oh, okay. Well, how come he doesn't take you?
Well, that's the one Floyd, I told you.
Oh, the one that died. Okay.
Before I was born.
Okay. Did you enjoy going to school after you got over the initial fear?
Yes.
Did you? Let's see, you were born in 1911, right?
Right.
So you were during the 20s, the roaring 20s as they call them. You were, I guess, teenage years.
Yeah.
Did you realize that it was the roaring 20s at the time?
Well, no.
Really? It just didn't seem any. I guess what I've heard about it, it was like it's wild and crazy times, you know, sort of similar to times now. But I guess you didn't really. Well, the prohibition was in effect then, wasn't it?
Well, I reckon.
Yeah. You didn't. I guess you weren't around Chicago, so you didn't know nothing about gangsters.
I always lived in
Iowa.
Iowa, Missouri, and Iowa when I was a teenager.
What about the Depression years, 1929? Do you remember anything about that?
Well, I know the folks was having a pretty hard time.
Well, that wasn't a farming community that you were in, though, was it?
Yes.
Oh, was it?
Let's see. What year? 29.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd be about 18. I was pretty much out on my own.
Oh, were you?
Well, working away from home. After I got a teenager, I worked away from home quite a number of years.
Did you work continuously through the Depression years?
Yeah.
Remember what you made?
Huh?
You remember how much money you made?
Oh, heavens, no.
From what I understand, it wasn't a whole lot back then.
No.
Like a few cents a day, basically.
I don't remember what I got a week.
Well, what were you doing?
Doing housework.
Oh, really? Cleaning people's houses?
Well, yeah. And I usually stay with them all the time. I lived in with them.
Hmm. Oh, okay. Okay, like a live-in maid, basically.
Yeah.
Was it pretty wealthy people that you were working for?
No, not necessarily. Just ordinary people.
Oh, okay. Okay. That sort of changes my perception of what things were like back then, because, you know, I know there was wealthy people that did quite well through the Depression.
I lived around Lamona, and that was a small. Well, considering Chicago, that'd be a very small place.
Yeah. Well, so did you personally see the effects of the Depression? I mean.
Well, I didn't realize it then, I guess.
How'd you come up? Well, your first child was Charles, right?
Yeah.
You would have been. I don't even. How old were you when you had him?
About
23. Okay. Okay. No problem. You married Walter in 24?
Don't ask me. Well, it was in that Bible.
Yeah. I've got it right here somewhere. I just got to find it. So you would have been 24 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you meet him?
Through a friend.
Oh, really? They like introduced you and started dating?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, okay. How, the names that you have for your children are sort of, well, I wouldn't say unusual, but from what I remember, from what I've seen in records and stuff, some of them aren't what were common names for back then. Now, some of them are common names today, but they weren't really common back then, you know. It seemed, you know, back in those days, people stuck with a lot of Bible-type names, and,
Well,
you know, your Isaacs and your Jacobs and your Johns. How did...
and Esther, that's a book in the Bible.
Yeah, sure is.
Dad naming that one.
What about Bob? Did... I see his middle name is Watson. Was that someone you knew?
After his dad's dad.
His
name is Robert.
grandfather.
After his grandfather, yes, on the Reed side.
Okay. Were any of your other kids named after people that you knew, or family names, or anything?
Well,
Betty Lou?
Well, Lou was an old friend of mine. She was a married lady, but I always liked her and her husband. They had no children. I always saw a lot of Lou Bernizer. So that's the reason I called her.
What was her name?
Bernizer.
Brenizer?
Uh-huh. I liked her, and I named Betty after her. And Alice, I knew a girl, a neighbor girl. We lived in Trapolo. Her name was Alice Mayday. And I thought, what a pretty name. So when Alice came along, I named her Alice May.
Well, that's interesting. Hazel. Now, there's a name that you don't see every day.
Her dad named her.
Blame it on Walter.
After an old friend, old girlfriend or something or rather, and Esther after me.
Okay, that's right, yeah. Okay. Back when you were a child, or even you know, whenever you were young adult raising a family, was there any special Christmas traditions that you followed?
No, not that I know of.
Well, did you open presents on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning?
Christmas morning.
Christmas morning. I think that back, especially in those days, I think
In those days, yes.
that was what everybody pretty much did.
Right.
Let's see. You said you lived in a city. What was the name of it again? The city that you grew up in?
Downing.
Downing.
Oh, that's. It's a very small place.
Is it? Well, about what would you say the population was back then?
Oh gosh, I
Was
wouldn't.
it 10,000?
Oh heavens, no. It's about like smaller than Dardanelle.
Oh, okay. So you live, like, I'm not sure how the towns were set up back then, but would you consider yourself to live in the downtown area or sort of out in the suburbs of the town?
It just wasn't too far. There was just one main street through town. One street went through, and that was all there was to it.
Wasn't a whole lot there, right? had the flag pole sitting out in the middle of in front of the courthouse, and.
Well, there was none. That isn't even a county seat.
Oh, okay.
Lancaster, I believe, is a county seat.
So it was.
Where the courthouse is.
Yeah, it was a small town. Then,
very small.
You said you first started out working at cleaning houses.
Working for people.
Is that pretty much what you did all your life, or did you ever work in a factory or anything like that?
After I certainly do.
Well, can you tell me about it?
I worked in the shoe factory at Hannibal, Missouri.
Hannibal. Okay.
Rode a bus back and forth.
How far was that from?
Oh, 25 from Fairfield.
Oh, is that where you were living at
That's
that
where I
time?
was living in Fairfield after I married him.
Mm.
Well, we lived in Trafalgar for a good number of years, and then we moved to southern Iowa.
You remember about what year you moved?
No.
About how old were you? Remember that? Maybe 30?
Well, it's after I had the kids.
After you finished having the kids?
Yeah, I had them all in Trafalgar.
Okay.
And then we moved to, that was northern Iowa. And then moved down to Fairfield.
What was the winters like? I mean, was it? Could you tell a difference in the weather between the north?
Much colder.
Up north. Oh, that's up there close to Chicago, or in the same.
No, Waterloo.
Okay.
Northern part.
Okay.
Well, it'd be north central, I imagine is what you call it, north central part.
Okay.
Waterloo. Then we moved to Fairfield. That's where I began working in factories.
Factories. What you worked in a shoe factory to start with? Any other factories after that? Tell me about them.
Well, see, shoe factories, that was during the war. They brought shipped those shoes in.
That was World War II?
Yeah.
Okay.
And ripped them up, redid them. I was a top stitcher for a long, long time. And I've helped made seat covers. What else have I done?
Was that a different factory where you made the seat covers?
In Fairfield. I worked in the glove factory for a good number of years, for quite a while.
You spent a lot of time working with leather, didn't you? Shoes, seat covers, and gloves.
Yeah, I used to make gloves.
Now this was 3 different factories that you worked in that did these?
Different times, Missouri, the shoe factory, the Hannibal. And
That was right on the Mississippi River, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hannibal.
then I worked on those. You were out of the Fairfield for a long time.
You remember when your first kids started moving out and getting married and stuff? What was that like? Glad to get rid of them, or starting to feel lonely when the house is getting empty?
Well, I hate to see them leave, but
It had to be done sooner or later. Yeah. When Courtney gets to that age, it'd be sort of like you. It's like, well, I don't know about this. What do you remember of your parents? You remember? I think you. What did your dad do for a living?
farmer.
Oh, really? So I thought.
Well, when I was small, we lived in Missouri. He worked on the railroad. And after we left Missouri, moved to Iowa, then he became a farmer. Worked on farms. We moved around quite a bit. Maybe stay a year at a place. One place I remember we stayed 3 years.
So he was farming for other people, working on
working
farms.
on farms and then working for other people.
So he never owned his own farm.
The tenant, what you call it.
A tenant farmer. Okay.
Yeah.
Where that's where I understand you're provided a house there on the farm, and you work a plot of land, and you keep part of it, and the owner gets part of it.
No, they give him so much a month.
Oh, okay, paying him to.
Pay him so much a month.
Oh, okay, okay.
Then allow us milk. We had our own chickens.
So, what kind of chores did you have when you were?
Gathering eggs.
You ever have one of those sitting hens peck you on the hand when you reached in there for the egg?
Well, I've had them peck at me, yeah.
Oh man, I've had one get a hold of me good.
Yeah.
Didn't feel too good. Brought a blood blister on me. What else besides gathering eggs? I know you did more than that.
And my job is milking the cows.
How many cows did you have?
Waiter,
Milk cows.
I guess one, maybe two, I don't remember.
Probably provided all the milk you could use, and probably had some left over, didn't you?
Well, yeah.
And good producing cow, probably put out a couple of gallons a day at least. Ever having trouble with them kicking over the bucket?
Yeah. Or getting their foot in the bucket.
Yeah.
And have to throw out all the milk.
Yeah. Did you churn your own butter or anything like that? Oh, really? I didn't know if by then people were buying it at the store or.
Oh, heaven no, we made our own butter. Mom baked bread.
What?
And I did that too.
Churning
After
butter?
I was married, I milked cows, make butter, worked in the field, you name it, I've done it. Especially after I was married, we lived in Missouri on a farm.
Well, now, what were those? Were they? I know it wasn't cotton because that's mostly in the South. What were you farming?
Well, let's see.
The wheat or
Oats. And corn. We lived there in Missouri after I was married and had the kids. We moved to Missouri. Yeah, from Iowa to Missouri. Lived down a farm. Kids' dad bought a farm.
Oh, you bought a farm? Okay.
That's where I did learn a lot on the farm. Put up hay.
Oh, that's a job there.
Tell me about it. And a few other choice things.
Let's see. So your dad was a farmer. What did your mother do? Just work at the house, or didn't she never worked outside the house?
Yes, she used to work in a cafe. In later years, they had their own.
Oh, they bought their own restaurant?
Yeah, after those kids were all gone.
Where was that at?
Lamona.
Oh, okay. Do you remember the name of it?
No, I don't. I visited her a few times while she had the cafe, little cafe.
Let's see. Oh, we were looking over some of those records out there today. Apparently, part of your family came from England. You know, were the rest of, ever heard any family stories about where?
Yes. Cecil was telling at one time some of them from way back when did come from England.
I believe that was the Daniel.
No, on Mom's side.
I have to look it up here. I thought the Daniel.
Daniel was from Grandpa Reeves' side.
Okay.
Daniels would be on the Reed side.
Okay. So this would be the Jackson or the Neils?
Jackson.
Jackson. Okay, I think Neil is probably
Well,
English.
Neil, that was my great-grandparents.
Yeah. Okay. You ever hear anybody in the family ever tell any stories or anything about the early family? I'm sure your grandparents or parents told stories.
No, I don't remember any of that.
That's yeah, so many stories I've heard as a kid growing up. You know, that's just totally, you know, it's like
Unbelievable.
well, yeah, but then there, you know, it's like they tell, I'd hear it, you know, they might not be telling it to me, but I would overhear the conversations, and I didn't really pay that much attention to it, you know.
That's probably what I did, didn't pay much
And
attention.
it's like now I'm like, why didn't I listen closer, you know, because a lot of those people that told those stories aren't around now, you know. And no one remembers the stories.
No, I've heard Cecil's mom's younger sister tell about some of them coming over from England.
She's not still alive, is she?
Oh, heavens, no.
A long time ago.
No, she'd been gone a number of years.
What were funerals like back in those days? Were they a big? Was it a? It was a pretty big event, wasn't it? Whenever someone died.
No.
Really? The community didn't come together, help the family, and
Not that I remember.
Really? Maybe that was more of a country type thing.
It was more private or
Really?
whatever, yeah. It was being, well, I don't know, it was just different.
Really? Is there any holidays or anything that while you were growing up that stick out in your memory as being different or special, good, you know, good or bad? Christmases, Easters, Thanksgivings.
Not that I can remember.
What was on a, say, a Thanksgiving, you know, what was it typically like? Did y'all have all the family get together and have turkey and all that, or did pretty much each separate family do their own thing?
I just don't remember. Stop to think about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll come to me later on. I don't know.
And some families, you know, it's like you got 300 people come together for one, but you know, everybody gets together and eats, you know. And some people, you just got, you know, the immediate family gets together and has their little Thanksgiving. And you remember Christmases, how those work? Did you ever go visit, you know, other family on Christmas or anything like that?
I don't remember that either.
It's probably been a long time since you thought about this stuff.
Very much so.
Let me get another book here. I've run out of questions that I wrote down. You got any stories that you'd like to share from any time? Stories you've heard, stories you've been, stuff you've done, or stuff you'd want remembered? What would you say was the crowning moment in your life? The moment you were most proud? I'm sure there's been more than one.
Right offhand, I couldn't say.
Okay. Okay. usual back. I know my dad only went to the 6th grade, and
Well, we lived in the country, and it was hard to get into Lamona to go to school.
and they needed you on the farm too.
Well, I thought I knew enough, but I was going anymore. I learned a lot since.
Yeah, yeah. So you went to the 8th grade. Would you have considered yourself a good student?
Average.
Average. I think that's what category most of us would put ourselves in. Just average. You ever date anyone in school? Well, it's the 8th grade. That's sort of before dating age, isn't it? You have any boyfriends?
Oh, sure.
Oh, really? Started young, huh?
Well,
Let's see, 8th grade, you'd have been, what, about 14
15.
years old? Well, I guess you could have boyfriends at that age.
Yeah, when I went to Zion School, that's a country school,
And this was in,
when I was growing up.
okay.
Yes.
Oh, that was, you're in the 7th, 8th grade, or?
Well, somewhere along there.
How many, you said it was a country school, how many students? Was it one of those one room?
One
type?
room deal.
Oh, really? Where all the grades
All
were
the
in?
grades all together.
I just can't imagine trying to go to school in those kind of conditions. I mean, it's like you got so many. I can't imagine being a teacher under those kind of conditions where you got all these different people at different levels and trying to teach them all at the same time. That would have to have been rough on a teacher.
Oh yeah, I had some. Well, didn't all of them back then have someone special? I mean, they was sort of,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
sweet on.
Oh yeah. Had your eye on someone.
Why not?
uh,
And I remember his name.
and that was
Lloyd Green.
Lloyd Green.
Oh gosh. That stirs up old memories. Oh yes. And on Friday nights, we used to have what they call play parties around the neighborhood. All the young folks would get together and we'd play games.
Yeah, spin the bottle and stuff like that.
Well, yeah. And we played other games. One of them was, well, it was sort of like a dance. Is now. We'd sing. Did you ever hear the one Buffalo Girls are coming up?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we played that.
Yeah. Let's see. What my aunt used to tell me stories about whenever she used to go to parties. You know that one of the games they would play. I don't know if y'all ever played this or not. Was was it gossip or something like that? They would someone would say something at the beginning of the row, and they would just change it a little bit and tell it to the next person. They would change it a little bit and tell it to the next person till they got to the end, and then they would see what came out at the end compared to what went in at the beginning.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Almost sounds like it'd be fun.
It was fun.
So that was.
And we've had skating parties in the wintertime.
Oh, ice skating?
Go some of the friends' house that had a pond.
Oh yeah.
Go ice skating at night.
Yeah.
I never ice skated, but
Did other things?
skate on my shoes.
Yeah. So your social activities were on Friday night mostly?
Well, Friday or Saturday. Yeah, someone around the neighborhood would always be having a party on Friday night together at someone's house.
I guess you came along sort of after the time of the barn raisins and quilting parties and stuff like that. Didn't you? That was before your time. You ever get in trouble at school for anything?
No, not
Never
really.
played any jokes on anyone? Got in trouble for it or anything?
No.
Just a good kid, huh?
Well, sure.
Sure.
Why not?
Let's see.
Oh, and another thing, when I went to country school, we had what they call box and pie suppers.
Mm-hmm. Heard of that.
I've been to those.
You make the pies and...
Well, we usually took a box, and then we'd have a program, and then they'd get up and auction the boxes off to the different guys. They'd buy the boxes of the pies. It was mostly a box supper, they called them.
Oh, it was like a meal in the box?
Yeah, or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
And well, they didn't know until
After they bought it, what girl came with the
Yeah.
box?
they fix up their boxes real pretty, you know. Make a little...
Try to get the highest bid. What? What'd I say? What kind of, you said you never got in trouble at school. You ever get in trouble with your parents?
Oh, a few times.
A few times. What'd you do?
I don't remember.
Just remember getting tanned a little bit?
Well, a few times.
Let's see. Well, working in those people's houses, that must have been, I don't know, I know I would, if I had to do a job like that, I would feel uncomfortable. It'd be like...
Do housework, fix their meals, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you're living in someone else's house, you know. I would feel uncomfortable about... I'd be afraid I'd do something wrong or
Well, you
just
get used to it.
pretty much feel at home and do whatever needs to be done. And,
Right.
Let's see. After you got married to Walter, right?
Right.
How was the financial situation? Did y'all get by pretty well, or struggle, or
Frugal.
really? Yeah. I know how you feel. So you were cleaning houses, and he was. I don't think we covered what he did. What did he do?
Who?
Walter.
Oh, he was a crane operator at John Deere in Waterloo.
In factory.
Factory.
That must have paid pretty good. It would now, anyway. Relative to the other jobs out there. Or?
That was about the best job, I guess.
Yeah. So,
Well, we got by.
yeah, but it still wasn't real easy, though.
No.
Yeah. This is a good question. Everybody, whenever they, you were used to living, you moved out on your own before you ever got married, right? You were living on your own?
Well, I was out working away from home.
That's what I'm saying. Was it tough getting used to being married? You were your own boss pretty much, and then someone else comes into the picture, and, thank you. I've done it before.
Too bad that I had to.
When it starts flaming up in front of your face, it's like something's wrong here.
Tell me about it.
Let's see, I lost my train of thought. So there wasn't ever really any problems when you first, I mean, getting used to being married and all?
A lot of problems.
Oh, really? Mm. Skip it? Skip it?
Skip it.
Okay. Let's see. Did y'all ever, did you have a Halloween?
Oh yeah, we used to have Halloween parties, dress up in masquerade.
Oh, really?
And we have a ball.
Man, it sounds like better time than they have now. Did y'all trick or treat?
Yeah, some.
Go around the houses
Well, not a whole lot.
and just went mostly to the parties and stuff.
Well, back then they just had those Halloween parties.
Did y'all bob for apples and stuff like that?
Well, I have, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you were had a pretty good social life while you were growing up, a kid and all. And you went to the parties and had the boyfriends, and don't sound like you did too bad for yourself.
Oh, I had a few.
Okay. Let's see. Then you started having children. Which was the worst one? Worst behaved? You can tell me. Who got into trouble the most?
Oh, the kids?
Your kids.
Well,
You can exclude one if you want to.
I don't really know.
Okay. Um, how about, you know, as your kids got older and all, how would you compare their life as a teenager to yours as a teenager? They have it better or worse?
It wasn't any worse.
As good or better than what you had
A
it?
little better, yeah.
No, I wasn't flicking it on the carpet. I see. How you know, after you know, while your kids were growing up there, how did y'all celebrate the holidays? You know, Christmas. Just take Christmas for instance.
Well, pretty much to ourselves.
Had open Christmas presents Christmas morning. Back when you were growing up, was there any? What was the best Christmas present you ever got?
Gosh, I don't even know.
What was a typical Christmas present? A doll, or they give you money, or
Old doll.
dolls? When you were little.
Where did it go? One year, Mom gave me a box of stationery. Or a pair of gloves, something like that. They couldn't give us too much.
Well, I tell you what, now you give a kid something like a box of stationery now, and they'd probably laugh at you and throw it back at you.
Throw it in your face.
Well, I probably would have when I was that age. You know, it's like, what's this? Okay, where's the rest of it?
And your socks.
Did y'all have a fireplace?
No.
So did you hang your stockings up?
Well, I don't remember where we hung them, but we hung our stockings up.
Did you have a Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Live one, I'm sure, because they didn't have artificial back then.
Live one.
Yeah. Did you go out and cut it yourself, or did you buy it someplace?
Go cut it.
What did they? What did you have like the? I know they didn't have the same type of decorations they do now, but did you put lights on the tree?
We didn't have lights.
Just
Made these chains out of colored paper,
oh, okay.
string
Yeah.
popcorn, and cranberries. That's how we decorated.
I remember back when I was in school, grade school, we made the popcorn chains and the construction paper chain links.
Green.
Yeah. And you know what? Tree looks just about better with those than it does with all the fancy stuff that you put on it now. Let's see.
I remember one Christmas in particular. It wasn't a green tree. My brother went out and cut just an ordinary small tree with still had the leaves on it.
Well, like a little oak tree or something?
On that order. We used to run popcorn and trimmed it up.
Well, that's making do there now.
We made do.
What did you normally you had like a cedar tree or pine tree that you?
Well, usually.
Did you have those on your farm, or did you go to somebody else's farm to cut them, or?
Well, we never had a tree too many years when I was growing up.
Oh, so there was some years that you didn't have a tree?
There was several we didn't have a tree.
So those that you did have a tree, probably the better Christmases?
It's much, much better now than it was even.
It sounds like it. I mean, it's like now, if somebody don't have a tree, somebody will get a tree for them, you know. It's like, what did y'all, when you were little, what was, on Thanksgiving, did y'all have turkey or ham or?
Probably a chicken.
Chicken?
I imagine. I don't much remember what we had when I was growing up. I imagine it was chicken.
Probably, yeah. Because you raised your own. Did y'all, I know in my family, you know, like my aunts and stuff, for them, they had meat one day a week, and that was for Sunday dinner. Did y'all have meat throughout the week, or was it a special occasion to have meat?
On the weekends.
Yeah. I guess that was really, having meat every day is something of pretty modern, present day type of.
Well, the folks used to butcher a hog, and we had meat then for quite a while, and cure the hams and shoulders and the sides.
Yeah. I saw you raised hogs too on that farm. Chickens and hogs. I guess you had cattle too, then you're just the milk cow.
It was the milk, but they never butchered a calf. The chickens or pork.
Let's see.
And I've dressed many a chicken.
Well, that can be a job right there. I remember when I was little, my aunt got me to help her kill a chicken. For, you know, she was going to cook it up. And way she did. How did y'all kill your chickens? Wring their neck, or use the axe, or what?
Just stick over their neck, put your feet in it.
Huh. She used the axe.
I never could. That's the way Mom did it, and that's the way I learned to do it. Snip their head off. Dad always run their necks, but.
Well, she would use, you know, put them down on like a block of wood and take the. Well, she had me hold this chicken this one time, and you know she's gonna chop the head off. Well, she did. She forgot to tell me to turn loose of the chicken after she did it. And I was like holding on to it. This chicken was flopping all over the place.
Well, when I snapped their head off, I let them go.
Yeah. Well, she didn't tell me to. I mean, I was like 5 or 6 years old whenever we did this.
And go get them, have a kettle of hot water.
Yeah, dip them in there.
Put it in there and
scald them and then
pluck them.
Pluck them and how'd you get the pin feathers out? Put them over a fire and
singe them with wire, you
Yeah.
take paper and singe them real good.
Yeah. That's the way they did it too. Well, this is more modern times. Put them over the gas stove.
Well,
and,
yeah, but then we didn't have gas stoves.
Well, let's start moving it on forward a little bit. Your hobbies. What have been your hobbies over the years? I know you're into yarn work now, crocheting. Has that pretty much been? How long have you been doing that?
This?
Crocheting.
Oh, really went into it after I came to Arkansas.
And that was in
68.
68. Okay. You make quite a bit of money at it too, and
Well, not so much then as I do now.
Yeah.
Back then I was just learning.
yeah.
Well, I could do with a finer thread, but since I come to Arkansas, I got into yarn.
Yeah. What did you knit
No,
before?
it was see that doily there?
Yeah.
That's what, that kind of
Well,
stuff.
that is knitting, isn't it?
No, that's crochet with a bedspread cotton. I did a lot of that.
Boy, that's some tiny thread.
I did a lot of that after I learned. Well, I could do that before I got into yarn.
Did you make that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
I've got several pieces around here I made of that kind of thread.
It seems like that'd be a lot harder to work with than regular
Well,
yarn.
at the time, no.
Because you didn't know about using yarn.
Well, I never got into yarn.
Yeah.
I learned to do that long before I come down here. But in yarn since I come to Arkansas.
Okay. You divorced Walter in 1935.
Oh no.
Let me look at my notes. 53.
I was going to say about 50 something.
Okay. My mistake. And then you, who came after that? Skip it. Okay. Let's see. Where did you, let's see, you left Iowa. So you lived in Missouri for a while when you were married to Walter.
Yeah.
Or you didn't live in Missouri, did you? You worked in Missouri.
No, we lived in Missouri.
Oh, did you? Okay.
We lived in Shelbina.
Shelbina.
That's in Missouri.
Okay.
Before we went to Iowa on
Okay.
a farm.
Oh, okay. That was before you went to Iowa. Okay. Where else have you lived after Iowa?
That's about it.
I thought you lived in California for a little while. No, that was Hazel that lived in California.
Hazel lives in California.
Getting my stories mixed up here. Okay, and then you moved to Arkansas. So you moved to Arkansas from Iowa then in '68. Okay.
Yeah.
And you
I
moved.
was married to Walker at that time. Back here.
Okay. Okay.
I came here in '68 and he died in '78.
Okay. Where's he buried at?
Iowa.
Oh, okay. You took him back
Yeah,
up
he
there.
wanted to be back up there by his first wife.
Gee, thanks. Huh?
Yeah, that's what he wanted.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. I guess I could understand that. And what was your reason for coming to Arkansas? It's a long ways from we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
What was my reason?
Hazel lived here? Or?
Well, the kids lived here. See, I came down here first.
Oh, you came here first? And then they came?
Then Walker came later.
Oh, okay. Okay. I understand. Yeah. You came down by yourself. Betty and Hazel were both living here at that
Both
time?
here and Bob, it was all three
Okay.
living here.
Okay, I forgot about him.
Yeah, and they were living here and I came. Then after he died, I thought about going back to Iowa, but I changed my mind. I thought, well, heck.
Well, your brothers and sisters are all up there, weren't they? Or?
No, my sister lives in Des Moines, and my brother lives in,
Which brother?
my only brother.
Oh, I can't even think of his name. What's his?
Leo.
Leo, yeah. He was in Michigan?
Michigan.
Yeah. I thought I'd heard that somewhere. I don't think I've got a listing of your brothers and sisters. Who? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah.
Frosty and me.
Leo,
Cleo.
Floyd.
Floyd and Bessie.
Yeah. Okay. I do have that.
Bessie, she lives in Des Moines.
She's still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Born in 1918.
She's younger than you are.
Oh yeah, about 7 years.
So they get around as good as you do?
Well, pretty much so.
I don't know where all the noise is. Oh, okay. Now that's Leo.
And that's Bessie, and that's the one, he died since we've been living here.
What was it? Ursel. Okay. Now he's the one. Which one of them was telling about the porta potty?
I believe it was Leo.
Okay.
Oh, when that,
The wind came along and blew it off the hill.
oh yeah, I believe that was Leo.
Yeah.
Oh, it could have been Ursula, I don't remember, they was all,
Yeah, they were both here.
all blowing off that night.
And that is quite a bit heavier you.
Right on.
You don't look the same. You tell you the truth, you look older there than you do now.
Well, thanks, darling, I love you too.
Well, it's a compliment, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is.
Okay. I thought it was. It was meant to be.
Thank you. Yeah, we were 100 and, let's see, I'd met early at that time. That's since I've been living here.
Mm-hmm.
When I had that other couch. And it's been a good 8 years ago or better.
Yeah, I think it was in the late 80s, like 88 maybe.
Something like that. I know before we was married, they were all here. Because they stayed down here at the motel.
The one right down there by where the Walmart is?
Yeah.
I guess it's the only motel
Well,
in.
yeah, right across the highway from the Walmart.
Yeah.
That's where they stayed.
Okay, that's the only motel in
Yeah.
Dardanelle, isn't it?
They asked me to make reservations for them, and I did, and they'd be here for the three of them. Because I didn't have the room to accommodate them all.
Oh, no. No. Well, I believe we can stop now unless you got something you'd like to add.
Well, I appreciate this.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And